Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. It's the one and only V, the Grill Economist, and we have with us our very, very special broadcast. And a lot of you are thinking, V, what the heck is this about? The most powerful brain booster we've never heard of. V, are you trying to sell us a pill, a lotion, or is it a potion? No, friends. It's none of those things. This is something unique, and this is something that's very high tech. And, I brought this on because I think it's a great segue, folks, because earlier in the morning, we've had Chris Bolin on from Protocol Fitness telling you how to stay active at home physically, but a lot of people are also wondering what they could do mentally because some people don't have the physical modality. Maybe you're on a wheelchair, maybe you're bedbound, maybe you're not feeling well, but you want to do something to take the edge off, and you don't want to knock back a bottle of Black Label or Johnny or Johnny Walker or Jack Daniels or anything like that. Maybe that's not your forte, but you want to take the edge off, keep yourself sharp, and keep your cortisol levels low. And one of the things that you can do that while you're on lockdown is this new technology. And I have two remarkable individuals here that are here to talk about it. These guys are Johnathan Anderson, who is the chairman and CEO of Nothing Artificial, which is Nothing Artificial is an amazing company that is all about enhancing humans. And we have Daryl Snyder here. He's also from Nothing Artificial, and he's also a managing partner of D&K Consulting. And folks, you got to hear this because when I found out what this program is, I was like, okay. I was like, all right. And then I started deep diving into it. I was like, holy smokes. Then I found out who the heck is exactly signing up with these guys to take part of this program because of how powerful it is. And without further ado, Daryl, Johnathan, welcome, guys. How are you?
Fantastic.
I'm awesome. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks. Awesome.
For such an introduction there. That's quite the introduction. Thank you.
I'm known for giving great introductions, guys. So I don't know who wants to take this. I guess Daryl, I'll start with you. Okay, I start with you because you were first a client before you really started coming on board and working with Johnathan on this. Tell us, what is this technology? How has it impacted your life? And then we could go into Johnathan breaking down the whole science of this whole entire thing. So go ahead, Daryl.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you. I've known Johnathan for almost 13 years. We were connected on another project, a cool technology he had back mid to late 2000, around 2007. And a couple of years ago, he contacted me, was all excited, and started to describe the science and technology in a lab in Montreal and what it did. He said, hey, you can train your brain like you train your body, only it's much less painless and it doesn't take near the time, and some of the benefits are scientifically proven, which he'll get into, and I became intrigued. I didn't really understand it. I was kind of like you, like, okay, what does that mean? And then we connected in person. He's out of Montreal. I'm here in Southern California. He shared even more what was going on, even more excitement, and pointed out some of the people using it and how it had spread from just people getting excited about it and actually having results. So I kept asking, well, can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it? And finally, about 3-4 months ago, I met with him again. I got a set of glasses, 3D glasses that he'll explain, and I started the program. And as little as 6 minutes a day. You don't have to do it every day. For me, and Johnathan will share, it's really been used by elite athletes and performers, and I'm just an average guy, but he said some of the benefits on the low end were better memory and focus. And in today's world, anything that can help me, I'm the spry young age of just turning 60. I say that, but I'm almost going to be 61. The memory, the short-term memory started to go, but obviously with focus, like consulting company, and I don't do a lot of projects, but it takes focus to be efficient in the ones that I do have. And so I started the program, and Johnathan will explain, but it set a baseline for me. And then as I continued it, I started to see improvement. And he'll tell you the science talks about 90 minutes of accumulated training. So there's 6-minute sessions. You can do as many as 3 sessions a day. So you do the math, 15 sessions, you've established the baseline. And in the last couple days, I mean, I've really, because of what's going on, in the world, and my brain is like on overload with, they're trying to, all this fear and what if, and, you can only sit in your house for so long or your condo and you start to pace around. So for me personally, it's been a way to relax my brain. And in the last 2 days, I've had an 88 and 89% improvement from baseline. It's amazing me, although he told me what would happen. You're all about, I want that personal experience, and I'm following the program and being more efficient on the program so consistently, and I notice it in what I'm doing. I'm able to multitask and focus, and it's just amazing. So I gave you a little bit from, not an elite performer like Johnathan's going to tell you who's been utilizing it, but I'm excited about taking it out to the masses, people like me that just are interested in knowing that, hey, like you exercise your body in the gym or running or walking or spinning or aerobics or whatever way you do yoga, you can exercise your brain, and it's super simple. It had to be for me to be able to understand it and use it, and it's very powerful. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, and you can turn it back over to Johnathan. But
Yeah.
I'm really excited about what's happening with it.
I can't wait to have Johnathan on and to break this down for us, because I know for a fact that the organizations, the groups, and the individuals you guys have worked with. If you want to share some of that, Johnathan, please feel free. But I'm also excited about the tech of what, and I would like for you to share that with us later as well, Johnathan, what this tech does for brains in the sense of how it innervates areas that could be long dormant, how it could rewire brains and brain patterns, and is there a potential for this technology to help people overcome, let's just say, certain shortfalls, or maybe some sort of neurological addictions or psychoses or whatever? I'm going to get into mental health, but is there some benefit to that? Maybe later on in the program you could address it. But Johnathan, go ahead and please introduce yourself, and then you can go ahead and unveil what this amazing tech is, man. Go for it.
Well, thank you very much. Well, I'll be straight up. I didn't invent the technology. I'm not that smart. Basically, Dr. Faubert, I had the opportunity as an entrepreneur to meet one of the world famous neuroscientists in the world out of Montreal University, out of the Faubert lab, Dr. Jocelyn Faubert. His team and an extension of his team is the largest neurotechnology neurotech group in the world, as far as influence, and I think they're in like 20 some countries. But Montreal's the hub, and where the lab.
McGill University, correct?
No, Montreal University.
Montreal University, got it.
But McGill is in Montreal as well. And McGill is definitely another university that's been taking the technology and doing a lot of other studies over the years. So I guess I'll kind of backtrack how I got involved and how I became so excited about it. First of all, when it came to, like, from a personal level, I was always intrigued about the brain and about human performance and about how to be able to become a better, almost, I think people probably have seen or heard that Limitless. I think there's even a movie on it. The idea of being able to take technology that's not, doesn't mean that you're going through surgery and under the knife or taking some pill, but being able to take some, using technology and becoming better as a person. And because of a few deaths on a personal level in my own family related to, you touched on mental health, and I think it touches every human being on the planet in some way or another, either directly or indirectly. Somebody's been affected. Even when we think about what's happening in technology, in AI, people are afraid that the computers are going to take over, that artificial intelligence is going to essentially replace humans and dilute what humans is doing. What we do here with Nothing Artificial is not that we're anti-artificial intelligence, but Montreal is, I don't know if you know this, probably the largest if not the largest hub of, it has the highest concentration of neuro and AI scientists in the world.
Wow.
In the last couple of years, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Samsung, Intel, the list keeps going, have come here and partnered with our scientists, mainly out of the universities here, with University of Montreal taking the lead. And it's really changing the way the world is looking at intelligence, because the whole ultimate holy grail is to have computers be able to think and act like humans and to be able to have the same intelligence. And that's really what artificial intelligence is about. And what Dr. Forbert has been doing is over 25 years of research in understanding the human brain itself and how to enhance humans, not computers, but leveraging technology to be able to do so. So I got intrigued. I'm a network engineer. That's my background. I was very skeptical because I've heard of different apps that are out there. I'm sure everybody's saw it in their Google feed. So from time to time, different companies, do this game, play that game, and you're going to get smarter. A lot of people have referenced that whole vertical as being digital snake oil. So I was very skeptical. And so when I went and did my due diligence, when I first understood about what this was and how this came to be, it wasn't a business. It was a lab that became a business. And it started when Dr. Forbert got a phone call from Manchester United about 9, maybe 10 years ago. And it was when Ronaldo was still playing there. And the coach, McClegg, wanted to basically create a platform to enhance their performance, the players' performance. So this was a very top secret project. They built it for Manchester United, took roughly around 10 months to get it designed and built. And then it went from there, and it was very high, very secretive. In fact, some of the military that are using the technology now are not even as secretive as Manchester United was when this was first built, believe it or not. And then it went through, I guess, word of mouth through other medical and scientific people within the high performance industries, and not just in sports. And Matt Ryan, for example, on the front page of the New York Times, when he won MVP, when he almost won the Super Bowl that year, basically was asked, why did all of a sudden you become from an average quarterback in 1 year to double-digit improvements and winning the MVP at a Super Bowl that you just lost? How did you do that? And you can Google that, Matt Ryan, New York Times, front page, and he literally said it was because of the technology that Dr. Forbert designed. And the platform is called Neuro Tracker. And the reason why most people don't know about it is because it's not available to the common person. It's only been available to elite athletes and elite military. And it went from Manchester United, it went to Matt Ryan, the Falcons, the Red Sox. If you Google when Red Sox were playing the LA Dodgers, Dr. Dan Labby is their medical vision doctor. Dr. Dan Labby uses NeuroTracker. He was interviewed on ABC right when they went to the World Series. And so you know what happened that year if you're a baseball fan. They ended up winning. Club America which is the equivalent of Manchester United in Mexico, is also a client that uses the tech and uses the platform to train their players. They also won the very first year that they started using it, and I think that was just a couple of years ago. They're equivalent of the World Series. I don't know what they call it, but I'm not a big soccer guy. But and of course the Washington Capitals, the year they started using it, Dr. Keith Smithson, who is a very well-known vision doctor, who also is the doctor for the Washington Nationals, and also for what's the other Washington team? There's the Redskins, the football. So they all use the technology. Steph Curry over at the Golden State Warriors. Still don't know. When I got involved in the company a few years ago, when I acquired the company, invested first and then acquired the company with my team, we basically have been going through the list of people that this tech is being used by, and it's unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. U.S. Special Forces, Canadian Special Forces, the U.S. Navy SEALs Team 6 has been using this technology for quite a while now. Recently, we competed as a company with for the AFWorks technology platform for the U.S. Air Force. 150 companies, some very large companies, introduced their technology. We were chosen number one.
Yep.
NeuroTracker was chosen number one, and that got rolled out in Austin last year, and at the U.S. At the Air Force base there, and it's been now gone to the U.S. Army. And because of the results and the studies that came from there, I've never got an email from NASA before, but I guess there's always a first. But I still remember when that email came in a few months ago, just before Christmas. I'm like, did NASA just email us asking to use our technology? I'm like, how cool is that? So my goal, and I'll just kind of go to where this is headed. My goal and my vision from the beginning was to get this to as many people as possible, specifically children.
Yes.
I believe right now, and I think most people would agree, if you talk to any parent, if you ask them what the most single concern they have, not now if you ask them right now is maybe the coronavirus, or maybe keeping them busy while they're cooped up in their homes, but what's their number one concern they have for their child? And you'll see they talk about screen time, how much they're in front of a phone, in front of a computer, in front of the TV, how the information that's just overloading their brains. And the world's never seen this before. We've never been bombarded by so much information. And this is all about your cognitive capacity. How much can the brain actually process? And what NeuroTracker does with 5-6 minutes, literally it's only 5-6 minutes and you're done the session, and it looks like you're playing a video game. It's a 3D patented technology that you follow on a 3D screen with the 3D glasses, and you track objects in space. And what it does, it forces your eyes to, which is, a lot of people don't know this, 80% of the information that your brain processes. I didn't know this until now. I'm just regurgitating everything I've learned from Dr. Faubert and his team. 80% of what we process at any given time, that our brain processes, is coming through the eyes. So it makes sense that this visual perceptual training tool, this platform, does what it does. And so the next step was taking the technology from a standalone platform that was in a military training center or a sports facility training center, which is not very scalable, and was to put it somehow on this thing called the internet. You've probably heard of it.
Yeah.
and be able to have people do it from their home, from their office, from anywhere in the world, as long as they have access to a mobile device. So we just, and probably releasing the cat out of the bag, we haven't announced this yet on our website, but we'll be releasing in the next few weeks what we call X, NeuroTracker X. And it's the world's first visual perceptual training platform available on any device. You'll be able to do it off your phone, tablet, Mac, computer. We're going to have it on Sony PlayStation very soon. You can embed it on your Apple TV, pretty much any device that you can stream from. And we'll be able to do this in the comfort of your home, and you'll be able to do this from office. You get into the office, grab your coffee. Every morning when I get up, I have a routine. Before the kids get up, I have 3 girls under 6 years old, so they
God bless you, man.
they keep me busy, but I that's part of my routine, and I essentially take 5-6 minutes, and I set my brain for productivity and focus. Being a CEO of a company, I don't think you need to be a CEO of a company to understand how much we go through in a day, and how much our brain has to. When we feel stressed, it really is because we're cognitively overloaded. And what NeuroTracker does, it's a digital therapeutic that allows your brain to build new neural pathways naturally without any drugs or surgery or anything like that. In fact, you mentioned McGill. They just finalized last year a 2-year study that they did, and realizing now that NeuroTracker has been scientifically published and validated to help with ADHD and autism.
Whoa. Huge.
And of course, being when you start making, we can't make medical claims where we don't diagnose any disease or anything like that. It's really an intervention that can be used by anybody from a health and wellness perspective. And so that's really what gets me up. I don't know if you've ever seen the documentary Take Your Pills that was done on Netflix.
Yeah. I remember it vaguely.
It's really about the whole Adderall situation. Adderall is an ADHD medication, and a lot of people don't necessarily, or maybe do know this, but college students, truck drivers, athletes, high profile executives are popping Adderall pills in order to be able to gain more focused attention and better performance in everything they're doing. Students are using it for studying their exams, and it's become something that is almost, you wouldn't believe it. The company that actually designs or invented Adderall, it's a company called Shire, and you can Google this. Last year, they just they got purchased by a Japanese pharma company in one of the largest transactions ever, $62 billion.
Oh my God.
$62 billion. So it's not just because of the coronavirus that we are bombarded with issues of focus and attention. It is literally the CEO of, I'm trying to remember the name of the company. It's a very big medical company in the US, said the issues with the brain, it's not just about mental health. It's everything. It's not just because we have an issue or a problem. Yes, PTSD, anxiety, depression, addictions, these are all part of that conversation. But people just want to perform, and they want to be able to not be stressed, and they want to be able to do better. And I think it's our mission to enhance the human brain itself and increase human intelligence so that we can have better artificial intelligence. And that's really the mission moving forward, starting with kids in the school systems. I think this is the perfect place to start. The kids are the foundation of our future. Being a father, this is what gets me up in the morning and gets me excited in what we're doing. So hopefully I didn't talk too much. I just wanted to kind of explain a little bit. And it's something that will become available soon for the average person. They're going to be able to do it from home and on a subscription model, basically cheaper than you would pay for a gym membership.
Yep.
As opposed to hundreds of thousands of dollars that these elite organizations have paid for the technology. Yep. And we do have a lot of clinics, specifically vision doctors, but a lot of clinics and research centers like Berkeley, Stanford Health, but we have University of Iowa, University of Florida. Like a lot of universities have been using the technology for research purposes as well. So it's really something that needs to be available to the world.
Yeah.
And I'm just thanking you for inviting me on this podcast, because this is actually the first podcast I've ever done.
Well, we're going to do plenty more.
Yeah. On this is something that excites me, because now the world's going to be able to get a hold of it, and that's really what counts.
I think we're literally lighting the fire in the minds of men, Johnathan. And you know what blows me away? And this is what I want people to understand. I want all of you that are listening to this now, that are going to be listening to this in the future, I want you guys to hear this out real quick. This is a patented, advanced technology put together by some of the most brightest minds in the field of neuroscience. This has been used by elite athletes like Matt Ryan, Steph Curry. The list goes on in both the NBA, the NFL, you name it. This has been NASA has reached out to them. The Air Force has awarded them a contract. Okay. You have the Navy SEALs. SEAL Team 6 uses this. Okay. And then here's the thing. Okay, it's not a pill, it's not a lotion or a potion, it's not something that you're consuming, and it's in university studies. This ain't some, we're not up here like, hey, buy this pill right now. This pill will make you smart. No, this is university studied, where they've used this on kids with ADHD and autism with remarkable improvements. Folks, this is not a joke. If you don't understand the height, the breadth, and the total gravity of how powerful this technology is, you're just simply not getting it. You're simply not getting it. This is revolutionary. And let me tell you this, guys. And I know this about Daryl. I know this about myself. And Daryl and I have worked together for years at this point. I will tell you this right now. I will do anything for cognitive function. I've taken chaga. I've taken lion's mane. I've taken all sorts of nootropics and exotics and you name it. I've tinkered for a small moment with Adderall. I didn't like the way it made me feel because, Silicon Valley's on it, so let me try it. Guys, this technology is revolutionary, and it's a new paradigm. It's a new era. And Johnathan, are you ready to? I want to see if maybe somebody has any questions. Anybody in the audience have any questions? Or Johnathan, let me ask you this: some of the stuff that you've seen with autism, has there also been like other, let's just say people who've gotten some sort of brain damage? Because one thing I do know from reading and studying the way the brain works, we often see that when a brain is induced to trauma, be it physical, be it whatever, that the brain is a resilient organ, that it finds ways, it creates new neurological pathways, and allowing the person to overcome their handicap, so to speak, their limitations, and then allowing them to overcome that. We've seen this before. Now, does NeuroTracker help with some things like that? What's your take on that, Johnathan?
Well, it's funny you bring that up because for years now, they've been using a lot of, in the military as well in sports. As we know, concussions is a big issue, specifically in certain leagues like the NFL and the NHL. And so a lot of the therapists and specialists have been using NeuroTracker as a way of helping them recuperate, and not just recuperate from and recover from the concussions, but to prevent them in the first place. And you may say, well, how's that? Well, the whole idea, and one of the reasons why the U.S. Air Force is using this, people may find this part a little bit crazy, because I thought it was pretty crazy when I heard about it. The pilots are literally getting hacked while they're up in the air flying these multi-million-dollar planes, protecting with pretty powerful weapons on board.
I believe that.
And they're getting hacked, and it's not their brain is getting hacked. And I said, excuse me? I said, how is somebody's brain getting hacked while they're flying a weapon, basically? Isn't that kind of dangerous? And they're like, well, have you ever seen the inside of a cockpit? And I said, no, I'd love to be able to take a ride one day, but that's kind of, I think every guy or every young kid's ever dreamed of being able to do that. But it's literally like being inside a video game, and there's screens everywhere. There's a lot of information that is being that's in front of the pilot. And when pilots go through training, they have to know how to decipher the information that's on the screens and then be able to make a decision very quickly. And what's happening is the actual enemies are putting call it fake news or fake data, fake content on the radar, whatever it is, at an extreme fast rate. And they have to decipher while they're in the air what's real and what's not. That's all in real time, the brain. And that's the reason why athletes, when it comes to sports, it's a difference of making maybe 500,000 a year or 5 million a year, because you got that little extra edge. When it comes to special forces, it means life or death. But bottom line is, it's that fraction of a second to be able to process information, what you see, and react. And that's really the difference, is being able to process this information that they're seeing, this overload of information, and decipher what's real and what's not, and make a decision under pressure.
Correct. Fighter pilots call that situational awareness. It is the difference between life and death.
Yes. So this is essentially what NeuroTracker does. And to be able to speed up, literally, it's like taking out the CPU of your computer and upgrading it from 16-bit to 32 or 64-bit. That is really essentially what NeuroTracker does without drugs.
Amazing. Some of the questions out there is some people ask, are the university studies, have they been peer reviewed or anything like that?
Yes, of course. Many. In fact, a lot of the studies were done outside of the lab itself, out of the University of Montreal, by other scientists, by other medical experts who have done their own studies with it. The University of Florida did one with what's the basketball team in Orlando Magic, I think it was. They did. There's a lot of them. There's an endless amount of studies that have been peer reviewed and scientifically validated. That's for sure.
And what have you seen that now, Daryl? You could probably answer this as somebody who's been through the NeuroTracker system and the program. How has this improved memory? And Johnathan, you could also comment on that as well.
I've noticed, again, I'm on, I think it was my 87th session, so times 6 minutes, and I've noticed almost to a T when Johnathan said the science had been proven after 90 minutes. But for me, I was having before the program, I know it's happened to a lot of people. If you get up to my age, maybe even younger, but you walk into a room and, like, why am I in there type thing? Like, what did I come in here for? But I've noticed so much more of my memory that's coming back. I've always had great long term, like I can remember, but short term for me. And then just, I don't do. I'm not an e-gamer of sorts. I do like poker where it's legal, and I've noticed some significant improvements in my game there. Just being able to focus on other players and tendencies and getting reads on players. So from a personal level, not being an elite athlete, I aspire to be a better golfer. So it's actually one of the verticals that I asked Johnathan about, that because golf is so mental. They say 90% mental and the other 10% is mental. So I've noticed as I've gotten back into the game with my excitement of NeuroTracker helping me there, that there's some improvements there as well.
Absolutely. Johnathan, do you want to add anything to the improvement in memory?
Well, absolutely. So the way the brain works, and I might mess this up because I'm not the scientist. The way the brain working memory is how, without working memory, you can't learn, and without that's essentially, and what this does is increases the neuroplasticity and the neurons itself in the brain in order to be able to expand your working memory, and which allows you, think of it like RAM and ROM in your computer.
Right.
RAM is your random access memory. It is your working memory that we use in the human brain. And so by increasing that allows you to increase your cognitive load or capacity in order to be able to process more information. And if you think, you mentioned at the outset of this podcast about stress, a lot of the stress that we at the end of a work day that we get has a lot to do with the fact that we're overloaded with information and our brain just can't keep up. That whole idea of multitasking, being able to do things at once, and that really is about increasing working memory. And the other problem is obviously focus and attention. The more and more information that we did a pilot with a world-renowned private school recently in New York. Actually, I think it was in Brooklyn, and they had about, I think, 10 or 12 students that they wanted to use the technology for about 2 weeks. It was a 2-week pilot. And their concern, their whole mission was, can we get these kids to sit down long enough to read a book? And they haven't been able to do it. The longest they've been able to do is 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
and so one of the experiments they did in this pilot was, they called it homeroom, and being able to get the kids on it first thing in the morning before they start their day, before they start class, and then they would get them to sit down and do exactly what they've been trying to do, to get them to sit and read a book for longer than 12 minutes. The results, after 2 weeks, they were able to get these kids that had never been able to get past 12 minutes up to 26 minutes.
Wow.
And so even though we cannot say that this is always going to be the case in every situation, I was blown away. Even myself, I was shocked. As I said, from 12 minutes to 26 minutes in less than 2 weeks. And they were doing one session a day. So 5-6 minute session. You can do up to 3. They say after 3, you're not really getting the results. It's kind of like overworking the muscle. And it kind of goes back to your question about, and I don't think we actually finished that point about the concussion side, because there has been in the last few months some new studies published that was recently done. Dr. Isabelle Gagnon out of the McGill University Hospital in Montreal, Dr. Brian Christie out of the Victoria University on the West Coast. They've been working in using NeuroTracker for many years, specifically with brain injuries.
Wow.
And so now they've got data and proof. Now, again, another FDA medical, we can't make claims. We can't say we cure brain concussions, but it has now been shown as a tool that can enhance and increase the recovery time of a brain injury.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So these are areas of research that we're constantly trying to push the needle in. And these papers are available. The recent ones that now have been shown that it does help, and specifically if you're able to get a baseline done and then realize when you actually are ready to go back. And that's really been the big danger, specifically in athletes, is going back too soon and then getting re-injured. The NFL, as we know, has been plagued with this issue recently. Again, I'm bad with names. I know there was a football player that got arrested, and I think he ended up dying in jail recently. With,
wow.
And they're saying that they think that it's related to the brain injuries that he was getting while playing football. Why was he acting the way he's acting? And I think there are a few movies out there on the subject as well. So it's a serious issue, not just in sports or military, but in car accidents, everyday life. People get hurt. So it is definitely a big area that we're excited about being able to contribute towards.
One thing I just want to chime in real quick. I have a clinical nutrition background, and I was in med school. I did a little stint in UMDNJ. Second largest medical school in the United States, and I was, entering their nuclear medicine program. I will tell you this: when you're taking a nootropic, and a lot of people are, I'm going to take this nootropic, I'm going to pop this pill, and all a nootropic does at best, if it can get past your stomach acids and digestive enzymes, which 90% of it will be destroyed because there's no real carrier or transport or some sort of a emulsion that kind of adheres the component together so it could bypass your stomach acids and intestinal enzymes, right? So even if it gets through all of that, the only thing that a nootropic would do, and I don't care what it is, you can chug all you want, and I've done it all, folks. I've done it all. All it's going to do is going to take your existing neurons that you have in your brain and help the intersynapse conductivity. That is it. The key to brain growth, the key to really make your mind sharper, especially with short-term memory, with recall, with cognitive ability, is number one, the innervation of neuroplasticity. Number two, the increasing of the neuro, not just the synapses, but the increasing of neurons and new neurological pathways. That's what's shown every single time to really develop it. And I think based on what you're saying, Johnathan, and all the things you talked about, from everything from the ADHD to the autism to the brain injuries to the fighter pilots to the SEALs, to the elite performers, that's what we're seeing. We're not seeing something that's just maybe just some sort of a better conductivity between a synapse and that's it. But we're seeing your brain really waking up, and that happens through exercising the brain, and that's what this technology does, right?
Exactly. And
That's
the thing that also that they did another study comparing, because some people say, well, if I play video games and I do it long enough, I'm going to get good at it, and it's probably going to help my brain too. True. Well, one of the studies they did at the lab is maybe you've heard the game Call of Duty, and they compared
Call of Duty.
Yeah, I think it was called Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And again, I could be wrong on the name, so please don't quote me on that. But I do know it was a mainstream video game, and they were comparing what kind of cognitive results and performance increase would be from playing, say, a video game, and comparing it to doing 5-6 minutes of NeuroTracker. So they ended up. Of course, you're going to get some benefit, but you literally would have to do 80 to 100 hours a week, every month, to move the needle a little bit. Whereas with NeuroTracker, it was 5-6 minutes, and you can do that every second day. People may think, well, okay, but that's a big deal, because the practicality of any person sitting in front of a video game and doing it 80 to 100 hours a week, every week, is just not there, unless you're a professional gamer, which brings me to the next point. Now we're being approached, and we're realizing by some of the top, because gaming is going pro, and it's becoming the fastest growing professional sport in the world right now. There's 1.2 billion gamers. And in fact, with this coronavirus that's happening right now, you might have seen some feeds on social media. I just read an article. They said that gaming companies have seen an increase of 75% over the last week, just because of what's going on.
Wow.
And the World Health Organization has labeled gaming as an official disease, because they say it causes addiction.
Sure.
So with what we have as a digital therapeutic, we believe, and this is something that I'm, again, very excited about, is getting this out to the masses. We believe we don't just have something that could help them become better gamers, which they're obviously very interested in, but we believe that it could actually help with some of these other issues that they say gaming is causing when it comes to in the brain itself. It becomes an intervention and allows those new neural pathways to get created. And we're excited about collecting more data and more studies based upon one study we've already done down in Texas with the team that the Texas Rangers own down there. I think they got sold to the Immortals over in LA now, but there's a pro team down there that Dr. Faubert and his team was invited down to do some studies, and they've already shown some immediate results and data on how gamers can use this technology to not just get better at gaming, but even help them with their other, because it's a lot of these are kids, right? These parents are concerned that their kids are playing games all the time and not learning. Well, if they could have something that made them a better gamer and actually increase their working memory and help them to learn even, well, that's not such a bad thing anymore, right?
Right.
Well, so it's all about spreading as much positivity as possible, and that's really what the mission is. And that's why we call the company Nothing Artificial.
I like it. I like it a lot. Closing comments, Daryl and Johnathan, go for it.
Well, I just appreciate the opportunity, BJ, to get Jonathan's message out there. I'm excited. I'm one of the first, you said, non-elite athlete to be able to utilize it, and I'm excited with him to get it out to the masses so they can see how powerful it is to be able to exercise your brain, and how painless, and 6 minutes a day, even as busy as everyone is, anyone can do it, and probably more now because they're in the home and they want something else to do besides look at the TV. So
exactly. And also, real quick, in terms of information and pricing and all that, are you guys want to disclose that on the air, or do you guys want to have the clients directly contact you? And for anybody that wants to contact you, that wants to contact Daryl or Johnathan, the email is right there. It's the email I posted right in the description box. It is right there. It's Daryl at it's going to be DS Snyder at nothingartificial.ai. DS Snyder at nothingartificial.ai. I don't know if you guys want to disclose pricing as of this point, because you are rolling it out right now to the public. This was something that was only available to institutions, large organizations, sports teams, and sporting clubs. So go ahead if you guys want to do that.
So Daryl, I think your email is D Snyder, right? D Snyder. Yeah.
Snyder. Yeah, not DS. Yeah, D Snyder.
Exactly. Yeah, DS. Yeah, D Snyder. I'm sorry, D Snyder at Nothing Artificial.
Yeah, and if you want to place the number and they want to text, like brain training, they put subject line brain training in the email, or text my number. I can put it out, or you can post it there.
Yeah, you can put it out right now, and I'll also try. I'll post it right now as well. Yeah. Go ahead, Daryl.
It's 858-926-6837. And if they text brain training, maybe Johnathan and I will get together, and it's up to you, Johnathan, maybe offer some, since this is like the first time it's ever really been offered to the market, and maybe they can get on a list. When it's available, we could make them some special offer over, what it's going to go to the market for, but they will obviously be the first to get access to it, and they're like me. I'm sure they'll have lots of fun and feel the improvements.
Absolutely. Johnathan, last
yeah, well, right now we're still tweaking. We want to make it as affordable as possible. We're still tweaking the pricing, but we definitely will do something special for everybody on this podcast. Or
you guys, the pricing it's super affordable. I was shocked. I'm like, really? It's only that much?
Yeah, it's going to be, it's definitely affordable. We want to make sure it's affordable for people. It's in the neighborhood of around $30 a month, roughly. And if you get it for the year, you get 2 free months. That's something that we plan on offering everybody on this podcast. We're kind of being overwhelmed right now with our B2B clients because a lot of them cannot go into their centers. Like one facility, they have over 2,500 athletes that come to them and work and train at their facility, and they can't go because of the coronavirus right now. So they're scrambling, saying what can they do from home. So we're getting bombarded right now with just our B2B organizations that have been using our tech. So we basically want to offer this B2C, but it's if you go to our site, it's you won't be able to purchase anything. So I recommend sending an email to that email to Daryl's email. Get on the list, and what we'll do is we'll send out a special promo for everybody that's on this call. For sure.
And if people want more information, like they want to see, hey, can you guys show me some studies done, this, that, and the other, they can contact you on that email as well.
Yeah, they can go right now. There's a new site coming, but you can go on neurotracker.net, and there's scientific studies. There's a lot of them there. You can download the PDFs of all the different studies. Or just Google NeuroTracker, NEURO tracker. You Google NeuroTracker Matt Ryan, you Google NeuroTracker Steph Curry, like any of this stuff, you'll see it. There's articles from Wired Magazine to Sports Illustrated, and this is all unpaid. This is just organic stuff over the years that has been used via these organizations who've been using the tech.
Amazing. Simply amazing. Simply amazing. And I'll tell you guys, what I love about it is this. This is real solutions. It's not hocus pocus. It's not a lotion or a potion. It's not any of that. It is real solutions. And folks, if you're taking like nootropic supplements and stuff, those are great. Those are fine. But when you add the game changer that this is, oh my God. And your brain health, your ability to think, your ability to keep your mind, the ability to remember things, and the ability to set up your brain for the day for productivity. And Johnathan, last we talked, you talked about there are even specific programs for people who are into trading stocks. There's stock trading programs that, and whatever exotic or new modalities you guys are coming up with. You guys are always pushing those boundaries, man. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's for me. I'm just honored to be here. I'm honored to be able to work with people like Dr. Forbert and be able to make it available to as many people as possible. And that's really the goal at this point. We've worked hard for the last 2 years to basically make the platform online, and it definitely is. It's now it's here. So I'm excited, and thank you for inviting me. And if there's any questions, feel free to ask us. We're pretty open to help whoever is in need. I know there's a lot of people that have brain-related issues. The world, people may not know this, but it's more than cardiovascular and cancer combined.
Wow.
So when we think about what's going on right now with coronavirus, mental health, if you just Google what the mental health cost in the health system is, just in general, just mental health, not just everything related to the brain, but in Canada, which is not a big country, it's over $50 billion a year.
Wow.
I think in the U.S. it's probably close to 300 or 400 billion. I don't know the exact number.
We're the largest medicated population in the world with the highest prescription, neuromedications in the world, man. Right here. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So that's it. Just says it right there. How many people we can help. It's and pun intended, mind-boggling.
Definitely it is. Definitely it is. So, folks, listen, guys, all you that are listening to this broadcast now and in the future, here's the deal. The link is in the description box. I'm going to update it also with Daryl's number so that you guys can text him directly. When you do text him brain training, and he will respond. Daryl's very busy. He gets inundated by questions all the time. So make sure you put brain training in order to get his attention. Best way also is email. Email him any questions you have. Get on that list and wait, because when this thing rolls out, it's remarkable. And you heard Johnathan quote that price. Folks, it's $1 a day. Less than a price that some of you spend on Starbucks coffee. Way less. Okay? Train your brain. Get yourself sharp, because we will be coming out of the holes that we're in right now with this whole virus thing blows through. And it's going to be a brave new world. There's going to be some challenges, and there's going to be opportunities, and you're going to need your wits about you. NeuroTracker is the way to do it, so make sure you contact them. Thank you all for listening, and we're out.